This Lawbringer rework reminds me of one quote here. You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. The Ubisoft interns decided to use all of the top tier characters such as Raider, Magi, Jing Jun, all those characters, and use polymerization to make him into what he is right now. You made it. Welcome back everybody, SolidSol here, and today is the day. The abomination is here, the atrocity. Honestly, Lawbringers Rework is pretty nice in a lot of aspects, but there's a lot of issues that I have, and we'll be discussing it in this video, so feel free to relax, get some popcorn, and play for honor yourself so you can test it out, because it is live right now. First of all, let's just go over all the changes for Lawbringer, because he is practically a new character right now. Alright, so Lawbringer has new chains now. Check that out. Animations, honestly, look pretty darn good, if I say so myself. I mean, that looks pretty good. Lawbringer can continue his chain unblockable mix-up, only if he gets the top heavy, as you can see there. The side one doesn't allow him to get the finisher heavy again. What's notable is that if you do land that one, you can do your chain abomination bash. So as you can see here, you can't do the bash afterwards, but only if you don't do the follow-up light attack, and this attack is only guaranteeing a light attack that continues your chain mix-up, which is just like Conker's bash right now, Conker's chain bash. His heavy attacks are now hyper armored, and so are all of his finisher heavies, so you don't really want to be trading with this. It's going to be a huge read that you're going to have to make now. And this also comes off as a chain starter, and I really like that. You can do light, light, and light. His top heavy doesn't have any more stun, even on his finisher heavy, as you can see there. You can also chain it with a follow-up light attack afterwards, which is pretty cool. So you can also chain into another follow-up light attack afterwards, which is pretty crazy. There's a lot of new mix-ups you'll have to learn. So long arm got changed significantly. You can no longer long arm right after impaling somebody. There is a huge amount of delay. The only thing you can do is either do that, which has hyper armor now, or you can go and impale into a finisher heavy into a follow-up light attack. As you can see here, it just gets you into your unblockable mix-up. So it's kind of a huge nerf to Lawbringer, but that just makes it so that his impale damage is so much weaker. If I release it early, I'm not going to be able to get the wall split. Usually beforehand, if you released him right around here, you would still get the ability to throw a top heavy, since the impale throws him much farther. But right now, there is no distance at all anymore. You have to either go for the finisher heavy into a chain light, or a finisher unblockable heavy. As you can see, this change was probably to reduce his heavy parry punishes, and I mean, 21 is still not a bad parry punish, but there's already characters that get a much higher damage, such as Warmonger. Lawbringer's follow-up light attack on a heavy parry used to stun, but now it doesn't, just deals 16 damage, and it allows you to get into your mix-up. It's a fast attack, and it's pretty nice, but I kind of miss the stun, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's actually crazy now if you actually land your long arm, which you don't really have any opportunity to do besides maybe somebody confirming it for you. They aren't able to light attack interrupt me anymore, and since I have hyper armor, I will be able to outtrade them if they decide to do that, because I can go for heavy and another heavy just like that to interrupt their light attack. So they're gonna have to be on the defensive. So if you want to meme around, you actually have some pretty good countermeasures against someone who wants to try to kick your butt. Lawbringer and a lot of the old roster, if you change your guard, your body actually switches. Some of the new ones don't do that. So if you take a look at this neat little detail, if you do 3 chain lights, his last one is sort of a sweep, as you can see. But if you swap it to this side on your finisher, and it should be a sweep on this side too, as you can see. Should be a sweep, but if you swap it, your body changes, it becomes a poke, which is a really nice attention to detail, and I really enjoy that. If there's anything else I missed, please let me know. Alright, first thing is first. Let's go over the goods, baby. The goods. This is what makes Lawbringer fun to play now. First of all, Yeah, he's got strings now. He's got a light chain. Animations are top tier. They've been working on it. They can mocap now. That is great to hear. Fantastic. 3 light chains are amazing. Makes them quite viable, especially on the medium to lower tiers. High level, it'll be nice, but it acts more as a mix-up. In case somebody decides to go for a light parry, you can throw out a heavy. So that's fantastic. Really impressed with the animations here too. Really impressed. If it's any reused animations, let me know, but I haven't really noticed anything besides maybe a Raider top light or something like that, but even so, it might be really close and it might not even be reused. The top heavy has increased in damage to 27, I believe, so that's great. It's slower, so why not make it more damage? The finisher heavy has also been sped up, so that's pretty good for viability, but personally, I prefer it to be a little bit slower because it looked cool and I know it was 100% viable, but of course, why remove something players love? It's just Ubisoft doing Ubisoft things. The hyper armor on his second heavy has been asked since practically the beginning of time because he is one of the characters that is in full plate armor and he's got no hyper armor whatsoever. So Raider, Magi, you're gonna have to watch your backs out there, buddy. Watch your backs. Don't go to point C tomorrow. It's really great though because the hyper armor included with the 3 chain light attacks, it makes him a menace in team fights and in 1v1s. You have to pay attention and make reads on good animations, otherwise you're gonna get smacked to the high heavens with Lawbringer. Hyper armor, you can't trade with him, you can't interrupt him anymore, so you gotta get ready to parry or just block your attacks to get into the unblockable mix-up. So with his chain pressure, oof, you have to be ready, you gotta be awake, and you can't just be playing this game high 24/7 like myself. Okay, another nice thing is that his zone is a pretty solid chain starter now. He's good hitboxes. I think they reduced the stamina cost on it. If they didn't, let me know, but I feel like I can use it a little bit more in team fights now. So you can go into your light, you can go into a heavy, and boom, you're already in the team fight already with huge hitboxes. I think more characters need to be able to use a zone and go into another mix-up with a light attack or a heavy attack. It's always fun using Raider or even Nucia sometimes because her animations are top tier. Now his heavy attacks don't just do raw damage anymore. Unfortunately, you have to do a follow-up light attack. It's guaranteed, it's cool, but I really don't think it's that necessary. Yeah, it makes him really strong and to get into his unblockable mix-up, but I didn't really care about that too much. He was still already pretty good even though he wasn't able to get his unblockable mix-up. Now your heavy into light is pretty satisfying to use because you get that follow-up light attack, and it kind of feels like Griffin, and this follow-up light attack is going to help in ganking situations because you can probably delay it and have your teammate land another follow-up heavy attack. The stun is gone from his top heavy, which was a bit tedious in Dominion. I kind of liked using it, and I didn't really mind it that much in Dominion when I got ganked by a Lawbringer because I mean, they're just feeding revenge. Just block the top heavy since it's so damn slow. However, this will make it less frustrating to fight against him, so no more losing stamina and no more being stunned, which was the biggest issue. The chain bash is now feightable, which makes him reliable in chain pressure besides just using his unblockable mix-up to target swap or just in a 1v1 situation. I think his chain bash worked fine before because you can mix people up with empty GBs or just go into a bash itself to get into your unblockable mix-up. But if they want to make everything feightable, everything unblockable, well then sure, go ahead. But I personally don't think this is a good change. Keep it the way it was, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Long arm has also been buffed, so you can't get interrupted with light attack after performing a heavy attack. On live, if you did a long arm and you did a heavy attack, the opponent has enough time to get up and interrupt you from any of your mix-ups with a light attack. Now you have plenty of time to get into your heavy, into a light, into another light, or an unblockable finisher, and all of his attacks are hyper armored, so you will trade people and you will dish out a ton of damage no matter what. The long arm, I didn't really use it that much in battle because you don't get it anymore from an impale. And speaking of impales, impale has been nerfed significantly. You aren't able to do a long arm after an impale, so ganking situations, that's a huge nerf, and also the damage is reduced significantly as well on heavy parry impales because 1 damage for the impale and only 20 damage for the heavy, and you can't perform a follow-up light attack, which is supposed to be an extra 4 damage, so you're stuck with only 21 damage. Another nice thing is that his lights aren't enhanced anymore. They were enhanced before because he didn't really have amazing chain pressure, but now that he has insane chain pressure, you know, making the lights unenhanced is good because now you can't just spam light attacks 24/7, but if you manage to get hit by light attack, prepare for 2 other light attacks incoming, especially on old gen. These are fairly easy to block on PC, so you won't have too much of an issue if you're decent at the game. However, if you're on old gen and you're basically drunk all the time and coming home from a long day at work, you're gonna struggle against Lawbringer now, that's for sure. And that is all of the good things that I can think of at the moment after playing a couple hours of Lawbringer. He really hasn't changed too much when it comes to his his playstyle, because you're still trying to parry things. You're just a copy of every single character in the game now, with unblockable chain pressure, feintable bashes, all that good stuff. So let's just go over the bad parts. Hyper armor should not be on his finisher heavy. That is ridiculous. Nobody in this game has it except for Shigoki, but his heavies are so slow and he doesn't have amazing chain pressure like Lawbringer. What the hell are you thinking, Ubisoft? Are you dense? You not know how to play your game? Have you ever played your game? I don't think so. Hyper armor on that needs to get removed. You don't even have to play this game for more than 2 hours to realize that is gonna be OP as fudge. Raider and Medjai are tedious enough with hyper armor for days. If they had hyper armor on blockables, it would be even more annoying. Raider has this enhanced zone, and even that doesn't have hyper armor. If you start to give it to that, then my god, we're all doomed. Honestly, we're all doomed. So that should be removed. Hyper armor on his chain heavy makes a lot of sense. Even if you moved his hyper armor on his finisher heavy, that might be okay, but you have to remove it on the second one. Can't make it a hyper armor machine, okay? I don't care if he has plate armor. One set of hyper armor on one property is fine. Don't go too far into the deep end. His 3 chain lights are great. I'm gonna have to call this out. It's hypocritical for Lawbringer to have it and not Orochi, because Orochi literally got half of his kit removed. Not even half. I mean, it is kind of I say half because a lot of people light spam in general, but since Orochi and basically mostly all the characters, their light attacks have been standardized to 500 MS. There's only a few characters that have like 433 MS light attacks, like Nusha and maybe Peacekeeper. But Orochi has been nerfed. He has normal light attacks now, and they're not that scary anymore. Sure, he's a little bit better when it comes to offense and defensive play, but he's not what he used to be with his undodgeable light attack. His ganks are still pretty strong with Storm Rush and his kick, but it makes no sense to remove his, which means you basically disrespected Orochi, removing some of his great animations, and then you give 3 great animations to Lawbringer on his light chains, allowing him to light spam even more on old gen. You nerfed Orochi for old gen players, and then you're buffing 3 chain line attacks for Lawbringer for old gen players to complain about it. What's going on here, Ubisoft? Bring it back for Orochi, or make Lawbringers a light heavy. Don't give him 3 chain lights. Even though I really do like it, it just doesn't really make any sense. Your philosophy doesn't make sense, and I'm concerned about where For Honor's headed, especially since you guys keep going flip-flop, flip-flop. That's one of the biggest issues I have with adding 3 chain light characters if you remove it on characters such as Orochi. The chain bash, alright, I'm just gonna say it. It's stupid as fuck. Please remove it and add the old chain bash back, okay? It worked just fine. You can even make it feintable, because you did it with Conquer. What is stopping you from reusing the animation that you have already? Why make a new animation that looks terrible? Tim from accounting, is he doing this? Are you making him do it? He is not cooking, alright? He is not cooking. Revert the chain bash. If you want to make it feintable for high level games, make it unreactable, that's fine, but keep the old chain bash. And I know you can delay the feint really long for the chain bash, but I think it'll still work with the current live iteration of his chain bash. Personally, I don't think we really need it because it worked just fine in matchmaking. Well, I think 99.9% of people are in agreement that this is disgusting and you need some help, Ubisoft. I don't know who the artist or the animator was, but my goodness, how could you even decide to release this as is? How could you release this product as is? As an artist myself, I would never release anything like that in my name. Shame on you, honestly. My gosh, that's disgusting. I know a lot of people worked hard on the other animations, but this is just unacceptable, really. The chain bash is really good in matchmaking. A lot of people will dodge preemptively, so you can get nice light parries or a nice guard break if a Lawbringer decides to dodge bash, or any character with a dodge bash decide to do that. The stun on heavy parry light is gone, and I don't know why they removed it, because it wasn't even that powerful. Most of the time you would get a fall light attack, which is already in line with a heavy parry punish like the one he has right now, which is 21. But I mean, it kept him unique. I really don't think it had any issues at all. It needed to be changed. It kept him unique and still viable to an extent. Pretty sure nobody complained about this either. If they just removed the stamina drain on it and kept the stun, I'd be perfectly fine with that too. You either die your hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And I think Lawbringer's a baddie now. Oh man, and I did just fine in matchmaking with Lawbringer. Yeah, I died because I wouldn't parry some light attacks here and there, or they're just unblockables for days, but when I was able to get those amazing reads off and those anti-ganks, it felt satisfying as hell. But right now, it doesn't feel that satisfying because you have so much hyper armor for days, and it's just going to be easy mode from now on. And that's about all of my thoughts while playing Lawbringer today. You know, he feels incredibly strong right now, and in the testing grounds he mostly fought against other Lawbringers, so another top tier hero. So if you try to think about it, any character that has dodge cancels or who wants to dodge more or tries to full block things, except for Black Prior of course, you know, you're gonna have an easy time playing this guy. You can just Unga Bunga and hyper armor through every attack. You need to respect this character in testing grounds because you will get hit by his huge hitboxes. Heavy attacks were increased in hitbox sizes a couple patches ago, so you need to watch out for that. The unblockables have hyper armor. It's like, okay, well, I guess I'm playing against Magi and Raider all over again. So the respect has to be given, even though I don't even think he deserves all of that much hyper armor. If you play in testing grounds, you're gonna either pull your hair out or really enjoy the rework because Lawbringer is finally S tier now. Remember guys, Ubisoft's idea of making a hero balance, make everyone S tier. He's overtuned in my opinion, and I think he needs some slight nerfs, as I said before, but be sure to let me know your opinions and what your experiences have been. Overall, I'm having a lot of fun with him because I am an average Lawbringer enjoyer, and I love hearing the satisfying sounds of his parries and ad mortems. But if you aren't a Lawbringer fan, I'm pretty sure you might hate him because there's a lot of unblockables and hyper armor for days with this character right now. And if you're new to Lawbringer, then you'll have an easy time because you can just mash buttons and win your games. So be sure to enjoy the games. I hope to see you in the battlefield. The box is going to take a nap or probably play more Resident Evil 4. Be sure to check out my streams if you guys haven't already on Twitch. It is in the description. Be nice to talk to you, play some For Honor, and say hello. Bye bye. See you later.